Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be giving my predictions for week 12 Premier League fixtures. And I know we just had international break, but thank God it's over. But week 11 we had some amazing fixtures as well. We saw Manchester City go to Manchester United and absolutely decimate them. Although it was a 2-0 victory, we all know Man City weren't really trying their best. We saw shock results like West Ham beat Liverpool. Oh my days, who saw that coming? A 3-2 thriller. We even saw the European champions drop points against Burnley, letting ground for other teams like Man City to catch up on the weekend as well. But before going into this video and before I give my week 12 Premier League fixtures, and we're set for another blockbuster games like Liverpool versus Arsenal. We know Liverpool always destroy Arsenal at Anfield. Another two great sets of sides playing each other, and we also got Manchester United going to Watford. Can Oli actually turn into prime Alex Ferguson again and pick up 3 points? But yeah, before I go in this video, you know I'm going to say, make sure you guys like, comment and hit that big subscribe button right there. Make sure you guys in the comment section give me your predictions. Who's going to win? Is Man United going to beat Watford or Spurs going to beat Leeds? Tell me in the comment section, who do you think is going to win? So the first game I'm going to be predicting is Liverpool versus Arsenal, and what a game we're going to have. Two top 6 sides are playing each other, and Arsenal have been in a great run of form, literally undefeated in their last 10 games. The last time we saw them lose was against Man City, and that feels like a century ago. Like in September that happened. Ever since then, the new signings Arsenal have had, the old guard, the young players, the experienced veteran players in that side are starting to mesh well together. Their defence have been solid as a rock. We've got Ben White, Gabriel, who have shown that they can complement each other very well. Like I've said in my last few videos, Tomiyasu looks like an absolute upgrade compared to Bellerin. And then we have obviously Tavares on the left-hand side, challenging Tyranny, literally battles up for grabs in terms of that left-back spot. So we'll see who's going to start on the weekend against Liverpool. But Arsenal have been in a good run of form, and they have good confidence going into the game against Liverpool, who we know who just lost to West Ham. All the things I said they shouldn't do, all the things I said they should be prepared for, they weren't. The West Ham had so much success from the set pieces, and we know Arsenal have been doing very well in the set pieces this season. Obviously, Gabriel scoring against Leicester, and they've scored what, 40-50% of their goals from set pieces. So Liverpool do have to be worried about this. But like I said, Arsenal should be going into this game in good spirits, and I know Anfield isn't very good ground which they like going to, because we've seen them get battered 5-1, 4-0, showing defensive frailties in the first 20-25 minutes. We know Liverpool at Anfield can literally blow teams away, and Arsenal have been a victim of this in the last decade or so. But I feel like this may be a little bit of a different side compared to the last few years Arsenal have had. They actually got a good defense, like I said. So this is going to be a good measuring stick. This is going to be a good test for Arsenal's defense, because we know they've kept clean sheets against Leicester and other decent sides, but we know there's levels to this in football, and Liverpool are one of the best sides in Europe. So let's see how well this defense have actually formed. But in terms of the game itself, it will be interesting to see how Mikel Arteta actually sets up his team. Is he going to go for a defensive style football, robust, defensive, play compact football like they did against Leicester, and look to counter on Liverpool, which will probably be the smartest idea? Or is he going to go toe-to-toe with Liverpool, which is probably going to be disastrous? I think he's going to opt for the former. We saw him have great success against Leicester, who are also a very good side. But it'll be interesting to see which personnel he's going to stick with. Is Smith Rowe going to be the left-hand side? Because we know he doesn't have the pace to take advantage of Trent, when obviously Trent is going to be attacking. There's going to be so much space left in behind. Would it be more wise to play someone like Pepe or even Saka on the left-hand side to have that cheating position, to have that pace in behind, which will hurt Liverpool, like we saw West Ham do? Other talking points, we know Aubameyang hasn't been in great form, missed a penalty, cost 2 offside goals against Watford. Is he going to play Lacazette up front, provide that holding up play for the Arsenal players, for Smith Rowe, Saka, whoever's going to play in and around the attack, who's going to pick up the ball when Lacazette lays it off to them? Or is he going to play Aubameyang, who's going to be able to stretch the defence, which you saw Antonio have so much success doing against Liverpool, where Matip and Van Dijk at times did struggle against this. However, despite Arsenal's great form, 10 unbeaten, playing well, beating decent teams, I'm not going to be stupid and predict Arsenal are actually going to beat Liverpool at Anfield. When was the last time we saw that in the Premier League? I don't even know, 7 to 8 years ago, and we've seen worse Liverpool sides beat an Arsenal side who look to be better. So I just feel like there's something about Anfield. The pressure, the fans are going to get to the Arsenal players, and I feel like they're not going to be able to deal with the first 25 minutes of the game, because we know Liverpool can blow out Arsenal like an avalanche. So going into this game, like I said earlier, I think there are levels to this, yeah. Yes, you can beat Spurs, your rivals who you always beat. Yes, you can beat Leicester, a fringe top 6 side. But when you're versing Liverpool, a team which have been getting 90 points in the last few years or so. I feel like there's levels to this, and we are still yet to see Arsenal get a signature win against one of the top sides this season. So going into this game, I'm going to be predicting a 3-1 victory for Liverpool. So the next game I'm going to be predicting is Leicester City versus Chelsea. And although Leicester have not been doing well this season, sitting like 14th or 15th in the Premier League table, when we all know that aspirations of finishing in the top 4 since they were so close last season, we still can't deny this is going to be a massive game between two of the top 7 clubs in the country. Chelsea, the European champions, sitting pretty at top of the Premier League. Although Chelsea did draw against Burnley, let's not get it twisted. If you watched the game, you would have known that Chelsea absolutely dominated Burnley, and they should have had 4 to 5 goals by the end of the first half. Reece James had so much space down that right hand side, delivering wicked crosses for the Chelsea players to get goals, but unfortunately Havertz and Barkley were unable to convert the chances. Hudson-Odoi had a decent game as well. Loftus-Cheek coming on the bench had a great game as well. But it just looked like they didn't have that clinical number 9, Romelu Lukaku, who you still know is probably out for the game against Leicester City because he's still suffering from that ankle injury. Chelsea had 25 shots on goal, only 4 on target, and that just shows and illustrates to you that they still need that focal point, Romelu Lukaku, up front to get the goals. However, like I said, I feel like this game against Leicester is going to be a good game for Chelsea to go into. Obviously a very good side, so they're not going to be complacent, but at the same time, we know Leicester have been inconsistent in terms of the results and performance all year. We do not know which side Leicester will turn up with. They beat Manchester United 4-2 comfortably at home, and then they will lose a game or they'll draw to Leeds like they did last game. We just don't know which Leicester side will turn up. I feel like Chelsea are going to be able to dominate this game from minute 1. It's going to be a challenge because we know Vardy has the pace in behind, and although he hasn't been scoring many goals this season, he's still going to be that potent threat. However, the Chelsea have a back 3 and they have 3 defenders to deal with this single threat. I feel like Chelsea are going to dominate the midfield. They have the strength, the physicalness and the talented players. And I just feel like Chelsea are going to win this game. Although they lost last year at the King Power Stadium, that's when Lampard was there and that was his final game there. So I just think Chelsea will win this game comfortably. I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory. Leicester are yet to show me on a consistent basis that they can hang with the European champions. And we know that was just a blip against Burnley that Chelsea weren't able to win. Because in the other games, they were able to score 4 against Malmo. They were scoring goals for fun in the Premier League without Romelu Lukaku as well. So the next game I'm going to be predicting is Manchester City versus Everton. And what a game this is going to be. We just saw Manchester City literally decimate, destroy, humiliate Manchester United at Old Trafford. And although it was only a 2-0 reflection of the scoreline, does not show the real game itself. If you're watching the game, you knew that Manchester United were always 2 to 3 steps behind the Manchester City players. They could get nowhere near them. The possession, the intensity, the speed of the game was just too slow for Manchester United, and Manchester City were able to capitalise it by scoring 2 important goals to get the win. Manchester City looked like they're back because they lost their last game against West Ham and also lost to Crystal Palace at home, although having 10 men. So obviously Manchester City are going to be the favourites against Everton, especially having a great record against Everton. When was the last time Pep Guardiola lost to them? Was it even in his first season when they lost 4-0 at Goodison Park? Ever since then, I don't even remember the time Everton were able to beat Manchester City in the Premier League. And Manchester City are versing an Everton side, although had a great start to the season like last year, they have not been able to win a Premier League game since 25th of September. That was like 2 months ago. So why should I really give any hope for Everton to actually have a chance of winning this game against Manchester City? And they've dropped points against opposition teams they should be winning or at least competing with. Teams like Leeds, teams like West Ham, teams which are in and around them, Aston Villa as well. Teams you expect them to win. It's not like they're losing to teams like Chelsea and Liverpool, etc., etc. They're actually losing to winnable teams. So this is going to be a worrying sign for Rafa Benitez, especially since he has this team thinking that he could potentially get them into a Europa League place this season. However, in terms of the game, we know how it's going to go. We know how Everton are going to be. They're going to be robust, resilient, compact. Rafa Benitez is going to favour a 4-2-3-1, which is going to be in actuality a 4-5-1, dealing with Manchester City's multiple threats, the way they're going to drift into pockets of space, the midfield, pick up the ball in dangerous areas where Everton are going to have to literally counteract and be solid and defend as a team to prevent this from creating chances for the other Manchester City players. But going into the game against Manchester City, I just don't see how Everton are going to do this for 90 minutes, especially with their leaky defence. Although keeping the clean sheets against Spurs, that's not really something to be proud of, because we know Spurs have been lacking confidence scoring goals. They weren't even able to score against Manchester United, who have been conceding goals after goals in the last 21 games or so. So going into this game against Manchester City, I just don't see how Everton, with their poor leaky defence, are going to be able to keep a clean sheet or enough goals for Man City for scoring. So going into this game, I think it's going to be a fairly simple win at the Etihad for Manchester City, and I'm going to go for an easy victory. Pick your scorer, Bernardo Silva again, Grealish, Foden, whoever, Kevin De Bruyne. I just think Manchester City are going to be able to win this game. I'm going to go for a 3-0 win for Manchester City. So the next game I'm going to be predicting is Tottenham Hotspur versus Leeds United. And this probably is going to be a fascinating game because of the two managers who are at the helm. Two managers with great personalities, distinct characters, and have a set way of playing football. It's going to be entertaining just watching the managers on the touchline go crazy. We got Conte, obviously a serial winner, coming into Spurs last week or so, showing that he's able to get a win in the Conference League, whatever that is, and obviously getting in a draw against Everton when we know they've been struggling to keep clean sheets for the last month or two or so, conceding like 3 goals against Arsenal, Manchester United. They have been conceding goals all over the place, Tottenham. So the fact that in his first game Conte was able to get a clean sheet against Everton, that is something not to laugh at. So Conte deserves great credit. However, just like with Nuno, we have seen Conte struggle to get his team to score goals in the Premier League in his last game against Everton. They had 0 shots on target in 90 minutes, despite playing players like Son, Kane, who we know are able to easily bag 20 goals in a Premier League season. So that's something Conte is going to have to work on. He's going to have to get these players to gel again, mesh well like they did under Mourinho, and literally be able to score goals for fun like they were doing in that season last year. But it's undeniable that his effect has been welcome. Emerson Royale and Reguilon look way better as wing-backs compared to full-backs, because we know defensively, especially Emerson Royale, is not very strong. But going into this game against Leeds, I think this is a decent opponent for Spurs because Leeds have been frantic all season, unpredictable, inconsistent. 1 minute they're looking like world beaters, next minute they're not. And they're like 15th or 16th in the Premier League, not performing that well with -7 goal difference. So we see that there's a good chance, a great opportunity for Tottenham to actually get goals, which they have been lacking all season. And in terms of Leeds, we know how they're going to play. Man-to-man, marking football, literally try to pressurise you, win the ball in good, dangerous areas. And what Spurs, all they really need to do is break through the first press, and it's going to be a simple way of scoring goals. We saw Manchester United do it earlier this season under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and score 5. And I feel like Spurs do have the personnel and the players to actually get these amount of goals and actually break through the Leeds press. They need to play press-resistant players like Ndombele, who's well and equipped to keep the ball. Harry Winks is decent as well. Maybe Oliver Skip is not tailor-made for this game because he may be picked out of possession. But if Spurs can be brave and beat the first press and actually have ambition with the ball and get into their attacking areas, there's going to be so much space for Harry Kane and so on to take advantage of and actually score goals. So going into this game, I think it's going to be fairly close. I feel like Conte is still getting used to his players, thinking who's going to be the right player to suit my system. And I'm going to be predicting a 2-1 victory for Spurs. So the last game I'm going to be predicting is Watford versus Manchester United. And let me just start with Manchester United. They needed that international break, losing 2 goals against Manchester City. And like I said, they got decimated, destroyed, humiliated. The way they were playing the ball, the way they were moving it around, the way you couldn't even get close to any players. Were we meant to press? Were we meant to be compact? It was as if the players were trying to figure out, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer really gave them no instructions going into this game. And we all know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the guy who's thinking we have the glass half full, and he's going to take inspiration from the game against Tottenham and even Atalanta, and probably rightly so, because we know Watford aren't a great side like Manchester City, so they have a very good chance of winning this game. However, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I know you had great success in your first game with a 5 at the back, but to go to Vicarage Road, go to one of the relegation contenders and play 5 at the back, especially when you have Pogba injured, so you're going to play McTominay and Fred in the midfield, you're basically playing 8 defensive players away from home against a team which just got promoted. This doesn't really make sense. Potentially, like I say every other week or so, like the Manchester United fans say, play Van der Beek. This is his opportunity. Pogba's injured. He should be getting more game time. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you really have no excuses now. But we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what he's going to do. We don't know what he's going to favour. And we don't really know his philosophy anyway. So, however, going into this game, I think Manchester United will win. They have to win. Because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer always understands that when his job is on the line, he has to turn into prime Alex Ferguson, and that's what he usually does, and he gets the job done. Manchester United have a superb away record, and although they lost to Leicester, let's not get it twisted, they're still resolute, they're still very good away from home, and they still get results when it truly matters. and they still have Cristiano Ronaldo, the best player to ever play the game, most likely, or one of the best players to ever play the game. Why should I doubt Manchester United when they have the main man who have scored pivotal goals all seasons against Villarreal, Atalanta, Spurs, Newcastle, whatever team you want to name? He has scored important, significant goals to keep Oli in the job, and I expect this to continue. Manchester United performance ain't going to be pretty. It ain't going to be, wow, we've stumbled across something which we can actually develop and actually revolutionise in the next few games and get results. So in this game against Watford, I'm just going to go for a plain, simple 2-1 victory. I still feel like defensively there's something to worry about, but I feel like they'll get the job done.